Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be doing a Man United season review. I'm going to award most consistent for the season, the rising star of the season, the hero of the season, the goal machine of the season, defensive rock of the season, player of the first half of the season, player of the second half of the season, and the one I'm sure you're all interested in, the player of the season for Manchester United. Do remember, if you do enjoy the video for today, please do remember to hit a like and subscribe to the channel. Now let's go on with the video. Alright, so starting off, we have the most consistent player of the season, which goes to none other than the Serbian midfielder, Nemanja Matic. Now, Nemanja Matic wasn't playing that much at the start of the season. Solskjaer was opting more towards Lingard, Fred, and McTominay as a midfield trio. However, towards the latter stages of the season, from January to May, he has been very much the favoured CDM in the team because of Paul Pogba's return from injury. Nemanja Matic has been able to sit deep in the midfield, giving us more defensive stability, while Paul Pogba is able to go forward, which that partnership has been crucial in getting us into the top four this season. And Matic's performances have been very good week after week, which is why I have given Matic most consistent of the season. So now moving on to the rising star of the season. Alright, so the rising star of the season, I'm pretty sure you all know who this is going to go to, but it goes to Mason Greenwood, who has racked up a total of 17 goals this season playing from the right wing. Like Nemanja Matic, Mason Greenwood didn't play that much at the start of the season, so it's a really incredible achievement to get 17 goals after not playing that much in the first half of the season. Mason Greenwood is an absolutely fantastic talent and one of the most sought after players in the world young players in the world at the moment, showing his goal scoring ability in the Premier League and in all competitions that he's played in this season. Left foot, right foot. It's obvious that you can see he's left footed, but he's so good with his right foot as well. Been brilliant since the restart as well. So Mason Greenwood just had to get the rising star. So yeah, I'm expecting big things from Mason Greenwood in the future. Obviously, there are a lot of big rising stars at United, but I think from this season, I think the rising star is Mason Greenwood. Alright, so now moving on to the hero of the season, which goes to my personal idol, Marcus Rashford. Now, Marcus Rashford on the field has had a very good season, racking up 22 goals in very little games because he's been injured quite a lot of the season. So I think he's had a very good season on the field. However, I'm not giving him a hero of the season because of his performances on the field, but his performances off the field. Now, whether or not you like Rashford as a footballer, I know I do, but I also know people that don't and think he's overrated. Personally, I can't see it, but that's their opinion. But I think no matter what you think of him on the field, you have to respect him as a person, because what he's done for all those kids that wouldn't have food over the holiday. So what he's done is really fantastic and deserves this recognition, and I do believe in the future he should be knighted, because what he's done is really fantastic. He didn't have to do it, but he did it because he wanted to do it, which is something that I really admire. And yeah, so I think he completely deserves this hero of the season. So now moving on to our goal machine of the season, which goes to Anthony Martial. Now, Anthony Martial has had an absolutely fantastic season, in my opinion, and many of your opinions. He scored 22 goals in all competitions, 17 of those in the Premier League. And it's not just the goals he was scoring, it was just his overall play as a striker. He's holding up the ball, making the assists, making the passes, linking up brilliantly with Rashford. Probably had a better season than Rashford, to be honest, because I think, well, he was fit longer than Rashford, and since Bruno was brought into the team, he just went to a whole new level. I'd really like to see how many goals he gets next season with Bruno in the team throughout the year. I do think he'll hit 30 goals next season if he plays like he has done this season, because especially towards the end, I mean, that hat-trick against Sheffield Wednesday was absolutely brilliant, and he's probably, no, not the best striker, I'd say probably the best striker in the Premier League this season was Aubameyang, but for me, he was the second best striker in the Premier League, and an absolute goal machine. I mean, I could have gone with Rashford. They scored the same amount of goals, but when I think about goals this season, I think all I could think about was Anthony Martial. He had large boots to fill after getting rid of Lukaku, and well, he filled them, and he filled them well. So now, moving on to our defensive rock. Alright, so my defensive rock of the season is Victor Lindelof. Now, here I couldn't really decide between Maguire and Lindelof. Both of them have had decent seasons at centre-back. However, because of the fact that Maguire cost 80 million and Lindelof was like, I'm not even sure, he was a lot less than 80 million, I have to give it to Lindelof, because going into this season, I was expecting Maguire to be the main centre-back. However, at times, Lindelof has looked just as competent as Maguire. And another thing I do like about Lindelof is that he's comfortable on the ball, which Maguire, I mean, he's alright, but there's always a mistake in him, and I don't trust him at the back because he makes too many mistakes. Whereas Lindelof, I trust a little bit more. Moving forward, I think I'd like to see him improve a little bit in the air. He still needs to work on that a little bit, but had a very good season. In fact, not very good, decent season. And I think, yeah, he's my defensive rock for the season. Solid defensive work, and for me, the best centre back of the season. So now, moving on to the player of the first half of the season. Alright, so now the player of the first half of the season. Alright, there are a few contenders here, although the first half of the season wasn't fantastic. I mean, I was considering Rashford, because he was on fire at one stage. I was also considering Fred, but I've ended up choosing Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Now, Aaron Wan-Bissaka was great up until the lockdown. And then I think once we were back from the lockdown, I think he was just a little bit tired. But the first part of the season, he was absolutely fantastic. Now, I do have complaints with Aaron Wan-Bissaka, but I'll leave that out for this video. But he was absolutely fantastic. And for a new signing, he adapted brilliantly. Defensively, probably the best one-on-one right-back in the world at the moment. And he was just brilliant, again, especially in that City game with Sterling. He didn't let anything go past him. And definitely, for me, was one of the contenders for player of the season. But for sure, the player of the first half of the season, just because of his immaculate displays against City and immaculate displays against lots of other teams in the league. And he was absolutely fantastic. So that's why he had to get it. Alright, so the player of the second half of the season. Alright, this is just not debatable. It's obviously Bruno Fernandes. What can you say? We're unbeaten in the Premier League since we got him. So, I mean, he's been absolutely fantastic, scoring goals, creating assists, linking up with Martial fantastically. Just 100% the best player in the second half of the season. I mean, he's even contender for the player of the season. If he'd been there the whole season, 100% he would have been my player of the season. 100%. But because he was only there half the season, I'm giving him the player of the second half of the season. Because, what can you say? I know most of his goals were penalties, but it wasn't just the goals. It was the assists. It was the passing. It was the creation. It was the risk taking. People have been critical about his risk taking, but we didn't have that, and that's what we want. We want a player to take risks. We want a player to try and make the killer pass. We didn't have that. We had Jesse Lingard before. I mean, he's the GOAT, but I mean, he doesn't make any killer passes or anything. He plays it all simple. And there's Andreas Pereira, and okay, he runs about. He wasn't doing anything in terms of creativity. I mean, obviously he's a good player, he's a professional player, but he not right for Man United. But Bruno, what a leader, just changed the course of the season. Without him, we wouldn't have top four. So simple answer for me, Bruno, player of the second half of the season. Alright, now this is the one that you're all here for. My player of the season. Now there were some serious contenders here. A couple of weeks ago, I'd said Martial was my player of the season. However, that was on the back of him scoring a hat-trick. So, since then I've changed my mind. I've also considered Bruno Fernandes. I mean, I know he wasn't here the whole season, but since he's been here, absolutely fantastic. I obviously also considered Aaron Wan-Bissaka. But my player of the season is Luke Shaw. Now, I know this is not what many of you will have been expecting. Many of you will have said Aaron Wan-Bissaka or Anthony Martial or maybe even Bruno was your player of the season. However, we saw what happened without Luke Shaw at the end of the season when we played Brandon Williams. We need Luke Shaw. Without Luke Shaw, Aaron Wan-Bissaka doesn't play well. And I'll tell you why. Because Luke Shaw's good on the ball, and he's good at getting the ball out from the defence. The problem was at the end of the season is we were getting stuck in the back. But that's because Luke Shaw wasn't playing. He gets it out of the defence and into the midfield. And I think he offers so much attacking-wise and so much defensively. Plays well at centre-back, plays well at left wing-back, plays well at left-back. Absolutely fantastic season. And for me, my player of the season, for sure, without a doubt. So I hope you all enjoyed the video today. Please do remember, if you haven't subscribed, do remember to hit that subscribe button. And also, do drop me a like. And even if you didn't enjoy the video, please still subscribe and please also drop me a like. And also, please write in the comment sections who you would have picked for your player of the season. Alright, have a great day.